This video is probably going to piss some people off. Hey guys, T2 out here. Welcome to the Titan Preparedness channel. Hope everyone had a good holiday season and hope everyone's looking forward to the coming new year. Everyone makes New Year's resolutions, whether it's to quit smoking, to exercise more, to eat healthier. Hopefully there's someone out there whose New Year's resolution is to be a little bit more prepared. It's not that hard to go up here to the YouTube search bar and type in how to be a prepper, how to be prepared. But the problem comes with what people tell you. So in today's video, I'm going to be giving 5 bad pieces of prepping advice that I've heard throughout the years. This video is probably going to piss some people off. One thing that I ask though, if you disagree with me, y'all can dislike the button, y'all can leave negative comments, that's fine. But what I ask is that you listen to the entire reason before you post your comment. What I mean by that is, if I say the sky's red, you say the sky's blue, and you're holding to your argument, and you hop over in the comment section and you go, oh, you're an idiot, the sky's blue, but I'm talking about during a sunset on the beach, whatever, you're not wrong, but neither am I. So please listen to the entire reasoning behind it before you post your argument. So let's get into the video. Let's step on some toes and piss some people off. Number 5, this is proper shelter. All that is a Mylar blanket. I've seen so many videos of people building either get-home bags or bug-out bags where they toss 1, if not 2 of those in their bag and I'm good to go. Shelter is covered because I have a Mylar blanket. Let me be the first to tell you, and probably the only one to tell you, these things suck. I can tell you they suck because I've actually used them. There's many preppers on this YouTube platform who have never opened their Mylar blanket, let alone actually used it. They are designed to keep your body above a hypothermic state. You're not going to stay warm and you're not going to stay comfortable. You're going to stay barely above freezing. That's not a place that I want to be. They're fine if that's all you've got. If you're going out on the boat fishing, maybe throw one in your tackle box just in case you break down. If you're going out on a little one-day hiking trip and you've got your water bottle, yeah, sure, slide one in your back pocket just in case you get lost. So if my life depends on my bag because of a situation where I'm having to bug out, my life is more important than a 99-cent blanket. Number 1, they're short. So all these people that are, oh, well, I'm going to lay one on the ground and then I'm going to use one as a tent, they've never actually used them and they don't realize that they're only about 4 foot tall. Number 2, condensation in them is terrible. Number 3, you cannot physically wrap it around your entire body. So one side of you is going to be cold or laying on the ground or laying up against a wet tree. One part of you is going to be frozen. The other part's going to be warm. Number 4, and once they start tearing, it's gone from there. I understand why people use them. They're cheap, they're lightweight, they can go anywhere. At least upgrade. This is the same material, only this is a sleeping bag version. It's got this protective layer on the outside, and as a 6 foot tall, 200-pound individual, not only do I fit in this thing, but I've got about 8 inches of clearance above my head where I can actually scoot down and all of me be warm, or get some sort of survival blanket like this. So I use both of these combined now in my get-home bag setup for wintertime. $30 to keep me alive? Yeah, I can deal with that. Versus one 99-cent piece of aluminum foil? No, not happening. Number 4, I see this one all the time in the prepping groups. A new person comes in, says, hey, I don't know much about prepping, what do I need? And there's always a guy in the comments that says, you need to build a bug-out bag. You need a bug-out bag by tomorrow, the world's going to end. That is terrible advice. Building a good bug-out bag takes time, takes effort. You're getting somebody that's new to the entire community and you're telling them that's going to be the first thing that they use. Out of everything else, they're going to use their bug-out bag the first thing. They get on Google, they get on YouTube, they search how to build a bug-out bag, they build one, they spend a couple $100, it goes in their closet to never be used again. A bug-out should be one of your last resorts. One of your first things should be making sure that your house is stocked. 3 days to 2 weeks, if not longer. Number 3 is probably a get home bag, because you want to make sure you can get home to your supplies and you're not stuck in downtown traffic. A bug out bag is the last thing I would build. You can spend a bunch of money on a bug out bag to turn around and have 0 food in the pantry. Stock up your house first, then stock up on how to get home, then build your bug out bag. Number 3, rice and beans. Again, I see a lot of new people coming into the prepping groups on Facebook. Their first question is, how do I get more prepared? And there's always the guy talking about the bug out bag, but then there's always a guy talking about rice and beans. You need to go buy 10 pounds, 20 pounds. You need to fill your entire basement full of 5-gallon buckets that contain nothing but rice and beans. They are a great prepping, stocking up food. How many people out there can actually cook this rice or cook dry beans without a pressure cooker, without a crock pot, or without a rice maker? If you lose power and you have 100 pounds of rice and beans and you don't know another way to cook them, then they're useless. They're great to have for long-term survival. Think short-term first, then head to long-term. Your short-term items should be things like canned foods or these dehydrated meals. These take so much less energy to cook than this bag of rice. If you are going to use rice in a short-term scenario, get the minute rice. 3 minutes of fuel to cook and then you're done, versus this that I'm going to have to leave it going at a rolling boil for a couple hours. If we're breaking out the rice and beans, that means that we've gone through our entire canned food pantry and our dry good pantry, and now it's getting to a bad scenario. So again, great for long-term storage, but think short-term first. Number 2, the rule of 3. What is the rule of 3? 3 hours without shelter, 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food. My problem with the rule of 3 is it fluctuates so much. I've lived in an environment where 30 minutes outside, exposed to the elements, and you're dead. So that 3-hour window drops really quick. You can survive 3 days without water. But if you're walking, if you're hiking, if you are putting forth any effort, that number diminishes. You see, all of these are based on if you are staying in one spot and you are not moving. We're not talking about bushcrafting. We're not talking about building shelters. We're not talking about hiking up 20 miles on a bug out. So the most important one to me is the 3 weeks without food. I see it all the time. People will put very little amounts of food in their bag because, oh, the rule of 3 states that I can survive 3 weeks without food. I talk about long-term hikers and taking their advice more than the prepping community. You will never see a long-term hiker go, hey, you know what, 5-day stretch where I'm hiking 20 miles a day, I'm going to hike 5 days without food, because the rule of 3, hikers understand that their meals power their next day. So for preppers who don't go out nearly enough, who don't test their bags, who don't test their gear like they should, they're going to think that they can survive for 3 weeks without food with a 50-pound pack? No, not happening. Most people who tell you that you can go 3 weeks without food haven't missed a meal in years. Most people who tell you that you can go 3 weeks without food can't make it from breakfast to lunch without eating a snack in the middle. These are the same people that are going to tell you that you, in a survival scenario, can go 3 weeks without food. So drop the rule of 3 and make sure you pack enough food to get you through till the end. And the number 1 bad piece of prepping advice that I've heard is the more you know, the less you carry. And that is a bushcraft thing. You can go bushcrafting for a weekend with nothing more than a knife and a ferro rod and go out into the woods. You can build your water container, you can build your shelter, you can build a spoon to eat with, you can build traps. Awesome. That is bushcrafting. That is not prepping. It is great that you know how to do the things. Practice those things, but don't bring the bushcraft advice to the prepping world. Just because I know how to build a proper shelter in the bushcraft world doesn't mean that I want to stop for 6 to 8 hours and build a shelter every single day instead of being on the trail heading to my bug out location. That is 6 to 8 hours that I could be moving forward, but instead now I'm stopped to build somewhere to sleep at night. Just because I know how to build a fire rubbing 2 sticks together, why am I going to take 2 hours to do that when I could just carry a big lighter? A lot of people want to mix the two. They'll see a bug out bag and they'll see a layout and they'll, well, you don't need to carry that because, knowledge weighs nothing. My shelter system is a hammock and a tarp. Somebody's going to tell me that, whoa, you don't need to carry all that. If you know how to build a shelter, go build one. To build a proper shelter, I'm going to have to carry an axe, a saw, rope. I'm going to have to take time to find the wood, collecting it, setting it up. Then I got to find pine boughs. Then I've got to find leaves. Just for a simple A-frame shelter, it's still going to take 3 to 4 hours. Knowledge weighs nothing is an awesome piece of advice for bushcrafting. But if your world has gone to crap and there is a emergency situation where you are leaving your house, that is not bushcrafting. That is now a survival scenario. And you want to make your life as easy as possible to get to that location. Just to recap for those of y'all that maybe skipped through the video, number 5 was Mylar blankets make terrible shelters. Number 4 was your bug out bag should not be the first thing you build / bugging out is not your first option. Number 3 is the rice and beans should not be the first thing that you buy. 2 is the rule of threes is a terrible idea. Number 1 is the more you know, the less you carry. So if y'all disagree with any of those 5 points, please leave them down below. I hope you enjoyed this video and now you understand why I disagree with them. Again, if you disagree, that's perfectly alright. Leave it down below. Tell me why you disagree with it. And guys, I hope y'all have a great new year and looking forward to making videos in 2020. Alright guys, that's all I've got. T2 out.